empty spaces, yearning for us to return. Watching our opening images, that's what I always feel. The four houses of worship of our Baja four congregations in Amado and Sierra Vista, on the northwest side and Midtown Tucson, they wait to welcome us again. And we, again, gather in the work, share in the wonder, and join in worship in the flesh. Absent from our spiritual homes for almost a year, the Baja 4 has been our virtual collaboration of programs and worship services, and along our way, we have found something more than the sum of our parts. We are stronger together. Employing our strength, we focused several of our worship services into an arc exploring the fake fights, taboos, and real talk of money, authority, and words of reverence. These are only a few of those topics that we tend to avoid or gloss over, the topics that make us so uncomfortable we'd rather fight about the superficial and get to the root of what's bothering us. And we are making space then for real talk, knowing that when we acknowledge, we have choices that will influence the future of our gatherings when we return in the flesh. And so we'll conclude this worship arc with real talk about being embodied in worship. Now, the taboo shows up in small ways. It's in that confusion about whether or not you clap in appreciation after a moving piece of music, or even if you hear something stirring in a sermon. It's in that expectation that we're all supposed to just sit quietly, restrained, immobile, while our thoughts are stoked, our emotions are engaged, while our souls are stirred within that brief time that we share as a faith community. Reflecting on our individual spiritual homes that wait so patiently for us, the Reverend Kenneth L. Patton once wrote, "This house is for the ingathering of nature and human nature. It is a house of friendships. It is a house of freedom. It is a house of truth-seeking. It is a house of art. It is a house of prophecy. This house is the cradle of our dreams, the workshop of our common endeavor. For this to truly be our reality, we must bring our embodied nature to our friendships in covenant with the freedom of movement, so that together we discover the truth, that art within our humanity, the prophecy that enlivens us, and birth our greatest dreams, working together in the flesh. Let us join in the spirit of worship, despite the distance of our bodies in time or in place. Welcome. It is good to be together.
We acknowledge that this land was stolen from indigenous peoples. In what is now called Southern Arizona, the displacement, genocide, and theft of land occurred in successive waves of colonization by Spain, Mexico, and the United States. This colonization is still happening, and as we've seen in the last year with the building of the border wall, local tribal nations must continue to fight the destruction and misappropriation of their land by America. The Chiricahua Apache, Pasquayaqui, O'odham, and Opata peoples are the indigenous ancestors of this land and are still our neighbors today. They are each unique in their culture and language. They are each resilient in their maintenance of traditional lifeways, while also engaging the present and shaping the future.
If you have a chalice or a candle nearby, I welcome you to light it with me now in your own home as I read these words from Reverend M. Barclay of Infleshed. They write, "Love cannot be bought or sold. It does not make a profit. Love does not hide from truth. Love dives deep. Love takes on flesh. Love is queer. Love is platonic. Love is erotic. Love is asexual. Love confronts evil. Love delights in pleasure. Love touches and weeps and flirts and feeds and creates. Love is risky. Love challenges systematic evil in all its forms. Love is simple, but not easy. Love is collective. Love rises up. Love apologizes. Love believes. Love corrects. Love holds accountable. Love pays reparations. Love heals. Love tells its story. Love embraces everyone, every creature, every creation. It knows us intimately. It holds us collectively. Love transcends every boundary that seeks to confine it. It will not tolerate violence in its name. It does no harm. It only sets free.
So much cultural emphasis in America is placed on mental intelligence. But what about the other kinds of intelligence? There is a wisdom in knowing how to season a delicious meal, to communicate a concept through dance, or to perform an athletic feat. Whether it is an expression of emotion, intention, discipline, or sudden joy, the ways we express ourselves through our bodies are multitude. Lots of work for social change happens on the level of people embodying their truth. Perhaps they do this through skills and actions, or through a willingness to write a new narrative about what bodies are acceptable and how we might support and celebrate each other. When people live their truth, they are being seen, and thus making visible a reality previously set apart. Every new and different narrative of embodiment gives permission to everyone else to be truthful in our own way. So today, we visit a small slice of what is possible by celebrating some of the many people who teach us about embodiment. Visibility, self-love, taste, celebrate, defy stereotypes, push physical limits, expansion, exploration, curiosity, patience, inclusion, expression. There are so many doorways into embodiment. It is through the choice to be present in our body that we gain access to the wisdom and pleasure of our full human experience. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Let a dancing song be heard. Play the music, say the words, and fill the sky with sailing birds. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Learn to follow, learn to lead. Feel the rhythm, feel the need. To reap the harvest, plant the seed. Let it be a dance. Everybody turn and spin. Let your body learn to bend. And like a willow with the wind, let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. A child is born, the old must die. A time for joy, a time to cry. Take it as it passes by. Let it be a dance. Morning star comes out at night. Without the dark, there's no light. If nothing's wrong, then nothing's right. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let the sunshine, let it rain. Share the laughter, share the pain. And round we go again. Let it be a dance.
Hi friends, can I tell you something? I really like Chris's version of Let It Be a Dance that he just played. Made me want to get up and do the tango like the Addams Family, Morticia and Gomez in the Addams Family. I'm curious, did that music make you want to move your body in any way? Is there music that does make you want to move your body? Maybe you're a cool rock star, or maybe you just let it all hang out. However it is that your body moves to music is the right way for it to move. What does it feel like? Maybe show the people in the room with you what it feels like when you get the urge to dance to the music. Go ahead, we'll wait. I'm curious if there's other feelings that you get that make you want to move. For me, it's joy. When I feel joy, I want to put on my happy music and I just want to let it all out. I sing and I dance. Well, you've seen my kitchen dance parties, right? What about you? Is there a feeling, as joy make you want to move your body in a particular way? Go ahead, show the people in the room with you. We'll wait. What does joy look like in your body? What about a feeling that doesn't feel so good that we try to avoid, like sadness? What does sadness look like in your body? A lot of times sadness makes me want to curl up into a little ball under my covers and just hide and wait for the feeling to pass. When I feel really sad, I cry. Does that happen in your body too? Maybe take a minute and show the people around you. What does that feel like? One of the feelings that's really hard to talk about and it's hard to feel are our feelings of anger. What do we do when we feel angry? A lot of times anger makes us want to hurt other people because we're hurting. In my family, we do things like go for a bike ride. We go for a walk around the block. We might go for a ride in the car. Anything to get our bodies moving in ways that gets the anger out without hurting other people. What about you? What does anger look like in your body? What does it feel like? What do you do when you feel those feelings? If it's safe, share that with the people around you. We'll wait. I'm curious what happens to the feeling when you don't get to do the feeling. Does the feeling go away? If I don't dance and sing when I feel joyful, the joy feels less. I can make it more and bigger and encompass my whole body. when I get to act, when I get to do the feeling. I'm wondering if that's true for you too. And so what do you do when you don't get to act that? For me, one of my favorite things about being Unitarian Universalist is our class is called OWL, Our Whole Lives. And these are classes for people birth to death, our whole lives, where all the messages that we're telling people are your body, who you are in your body is whole and wholly welcome here. Everyone, no matter what your body looks like, how it moves and doesn't move, how old it is, what color the skin is, no matter what, you are whole, you are holy, and you are wholly welcome here. We believe that. And here's a tough one. Sometimes when we're watching church, either online or remember way back in when we were in person, and our bodies wanted to move in particular ways, maybe we're young and we have the wiggles and we can't sit still. Or maybe we feel moved by the Spirit and we want to get up and dance and nobody else is dancing. How do we learn to worship so that what we say, all bodies are welcome, all bodies are whole and holy and wholly welcome, actually matches what we do? How do we welcome people who wiggle? At UUCT, we did things like create our soft space in the sanctuary. We have lots of folks who come on Sunday mornings and they like to sit on the floor and they sit in the beanbag chairs and maybe they do some coloring pages or some fidgets while they're listening to service. Some people, when we're in person, bring their knitting, and I bet dollars to donuts that some of you are knitting right now, even as we speak, and you're watching our worship. Some people have prayer beads, little beads that they run through their fingers as they're thinking or meditating or praying, however that moves them. Some people get up in the middle of worship, even when we're in person, and stand against the back wall, or get up and walk out, or get up and go into the other area of the sanctuary just because they need to move their bodies. And personally for me, online worship has been tons of fun because I don't hesitate to sing loudly or to dance when I feel moved. Nobody's watching. My body gets to express itself through joy any way I want. How's that going to be when we're back in person? You know, we've learned a lot of things on Zoom about how to show appreciation or how to communicate with other people over the screen. So we snap or we clap. We do ASL, sign language movements. I give the thumbs up a lot. So we figured out how to bring our bodies even into this disembodied space. I'm really curious how we're going to bring that back into our church spaces when we're back in person. So here's the challenge. What can we do? What can we think of? How can we become more welcoming of our bodies? We've got some time. We've got some time to think about it before we're back in our church spaces. And so I want to invite you to start talking with the people around you. So younger friends, please talk to your adults. Adult friends, please talk to your younger friends. How can we be our most welcoming and embodied space when we come back into worship? When we come back to our churches, how can we do that? Bring your ideas. Because in the end, we can't celebrate our differences if we can't bring our bodies. We cannot say every body is welcome. Every body is whole and wholly welcome if we don't embrace the different ways that we feel. Our faith calls us to this. Our faith calls us to be embodied. We talk about wholeness and we celebrate our minds over our bodies. And we don't need to anymore. We know that our bodies are welcome in this space. We don't ask you to check your mind at the door. We want to invite you to bring your whole body too.
We are becoming more embodied. That is, feeling our empty spaces and the distance the pandemic has necessitated among our bodies, I've witnessed through these virtual windows into your lives. an awakening among us to our body's need to love. In the yearning for being present in the same place, the longing for a handshake, the desire for a hug, I believe it is dawning on us just how much we need to be together, to love together in the flesh. And yet we have created some taboos against it. We have a faith tradition that has satisfied our minds, yet has not fully invited our bodies. And so we must be intentional, deliberate as we return. First, to acknowledge the need, and more importantly, to consent to how we will embody love in our gatherings and, I pray, in our worship. Back when I first became a Unitarian Universalist, I was impressed with the idea that we were a faith that didn't ask you to leave your mind at the door on Sunday mornings. Well, I've since heard other faith traditions, like our cousins in the United Church of Christ, well, they make the same claim. Yet, that hasn't diminished my early impression. We are a people who think to love as we worship. Think to love. That is, we love to love the world through our minds. Give me a sermon with intellectual authenticity and multisyllabic wordplay as the mental meat to chew on all week. My heart is warmed and my spirit is fulfilled. Ooh, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. It is a part of our faith tradition. It's a strength that has defined us for well over 200 years. See, back in the early 1800s, as the Reverend William Ellery Channing was becoming the first Unitarian by claiming that name for his 19th century liberal Christianity, a name, by the way, that had been an insult on the lips of Orthodox Calvinists, he expressed then how it is we think to love. Channing defined Unitarians by a rationality reflecting the divine and rescued human nature from the Calvinist condemnation. In his 1830 sermon, Spiritual Freedom, he said, "I call that mind free, which masters the senses. I call the mind free, which escapes the bondage of matter. I call that mind free, which jealously guards its intellectual rights and powers." And he concludes his litany with, "I call that mind free, which sets no bounds to its love." Now, his was a vision of intellectual salvation that redeemed human nature, but condemned the body. As Channing elaborated in that sermon, that free mind protects itself against animal appetites, contemns pleasure and pain in comparison to its own energy, penetrates beneath the body, and recognizes in its own reality and greatness, which passes life not in asking what it shall eat or drink, but in hungering, thirsting, and seeking after righteousness. That mind, free to love, so defined Channing, becomes the tool to confine the body. Now, I'm not criticizing Channing's theology, well, maybe a little. But this is our faith today, to contemplate and determine for ourselves. You see, it wasn't Channing, it was Unitarians and Universalists like you and me who over the last 200 years have consented to our faith confining our bodies. And by the way, it hasn't protected us. If anything, the rejection of our bodies' love for the world as animal appetites
has given us the illusion of protection. And this has made misconduct in the flesh far more possible among us than if we had been more balanced in our acceptance of our bodies. And it isn't like we haven't tried. Of course, in times of crisis, but also in times seeking to grow our faith, we've tried to be more embodied. But tradition has a powerful flow, and it's too easy to get carried along. It's too easy to follow the taboos. After becoming Unitarian Universalists, through the merger of our parent faiths, we did adopt several sources of revelation, the means and methods of how we love the world. In those we name the words and actions of prophetic people and the warnings of humanist teachings against the idolatry of the mind, but we never got around to saying anything directly about how the world unfolds and inspires while we love it with our bodies. And yet, here we are, participating in a virtual worship, deeply feeling the need to express love for one another with our bodies. Now, we have the opportunity to open the door, to contemplate and deliberate and to craft and create new community consent, and to be a people who not only think to love as we worship, but to embody to love too. We could call the body free, which revels in liturgical sights and sounds, smells, tastes, and touch. We could call the body free, which escapes the confinements of tradition and celebrates individual wholeness. We could call the body free, which moves with equal rights as a partner with our minds. We could call the body free, which sets healthy and wholesome boundaries to its love. Now, some of you might be getting goosebumps, envisioning embodied love in our gathered worship, and some of you may feel a tightness in your bodies, a cold dread in your limbs, a yawning pit in your stomachs. Let's all take a deep, deep breath together and let it out. Community consent to engage in embodied love in worship has to have meaning within our faith, but it never means that you give up your individual consent. It means that each and all of us have the freedom to express the love within our bodies as we feel comfortable doing. And we know it can't be the same for everyone. Some will wear their most exuberant Sunday best just for the feel of it. Some will dance in the aisles unexpectedly with joy. Some people will clap to celebrate a piece of music. Some will ride unicycles. Okay, there'd have to be a really good reason for that. Some will lead us in chocolate communion. And maybe you won't do any of that. Maybe that's not your style. Perhaps none of these are how you love the world with your body. And I don't know, maybe you've got a chocolate allergy. But my point is, only together can we craft consent to engaging our bodies as a means to inviting, recognizing, and exploring the differences of a unique body truth. I mean, ponder with me for just a moment, who might we be if embodied visibility, self-love, taste, celebration, defying stereotypes, pushing physical limits, honoring physical limits, expansion, exploration, curiosity, patience, inclusion, expression were not checked at the door of our sanctuaries. You see, the dance that we could do, it isn't between ourselves and our tradition. It's right here, among us. Beautiful soul to beautiful soul, in the flesh, and ready to love. Okay, enough talk. We've put together a moving musical meditation for opening that door just a little bit to embodied love and worship. And Chris and I discussed and discarded several different pieces before we realized that there isn't going to be one that moves us all. And then we realized that that's okay. So we invite you to participate in this meditation with your body love. Feel it, move to it, or not. And in true YouTube fashion, we've put a link at the end of the worship service that will take you to a website with 126 different pieces of music, each one about dancing, from across genres and time periods. And so after you've completed the service, you can find one that gets you moving and grooving in your body, that invites your body to love.
This is one of our favorite things to do. We love to sit outside and swing back and forth, back and forth. And we feel wind in our hair and the breeze on our face. And we talk to each other and we take turns. Bah! This is our prayer for your body. That you're worthy of all the pleasure and all the joy in the world. And that you are loved. If joy has taught me anything, it's that her existence asks that I view mine with the same loving possibility. May you love yourself with such tenderness. Amen.
After a week of visiting the dentist, the endodontologist, and the dermatologist, I am feeling embodied. And I am so grateful I have insurance and I can care for this gift, this body. And I cannot wait to use it to celebrate fully in worship together again. I'm also grateful to the Baja for allowing us to connect across space and time when we could not gather in body. And I am so grateful for the people and principles of Unitarian Universalism that have sustained me and I hope have fed you. These beliefs, as I saw them made flesh in you, in all you do, have given me hope and remind me I can make a difference in my body too. Today's chalice extinguishing is especially moving because it speaks of what keeps us strong despite distance, perhaps in a way the author didn't foresee when she first wrote it. So even though our worship is over and we leave this digital space, the flame of our beliefs stays strong within us, nourishing us, guiding us to be more fully embodied in this world. Hear these words by the Reverend Maureen Killerin. This is a message of our faith, to act with passion in the face of injustice, to love with courage despite life's pain. This is the meaning of our chalice flame. May it empower our hearts until we are together again.
Oh, wait. Don't forget, at the end of the video, there's that link. That link so that you can go and explore 126 different pieces of music, one that may invite you and your body to move in love.